Welcome, folks. We'll give about 3 more minutes to let people filter in. As we're waiting for folks to filter in, I posted the meeting notes in the chat for folks. Oh, did I share the wrong screen? I did. I shared a Reddit page instead. Please bear with me. There we go. That's the one. Alrighty, we're at 5 past the hour. We're going to go ahead and get started here. Thank you all for joining. Just a few quick things. Cozy Stack wanted to do a presentation today. Do we have someone representing Cozy Stack here? All right, if not, we'll just kind of wait. The only other topics that I had is QCon's next week. So if there's any prep, I know if there's some follow-ups from last meeting. Kashif, thank you for volunteering to represent the tag at the Maintainer Summit keynote on Sunday. It probably would also be a good idea to post a link to our talk session. Let me just pull up the schedule real quick here and add that to the notes. Here we go. Okay, is this the right link? Okay, here we go. Yeah, intro to tag info. So please add it to your schedules. Come by, say hi. The chairs will be kind of presenting the newly introduced tag at KubeCon. Have we decided? I know there was mention of us maybe doing a meetup or a get together. Have we decided maybe is there any discussion last time about where and when?
I think we haven't set up time. Some folks will be at the Maintainer Summit, but not everybody will be there. So at least for folks who are at Maintainer Summit, we can chat first. and maybe decide on a time to meet up later. I'm just not sure like what is the good time for everybody to meet.
No worries. We can maybe meet up at the maintainer summit and then figure out a good time to do maybe a general community meetup during one of the breaks or lunches
Yeah,
during the main conference. Okay. Um, do we have any updates on some of our initiatives? Just
so
want to
I
quickly go through
actually
those.
I added a section there, the data storage in cloud native AI, in that work in progress white paper. I added a section for how storage is used in AI lifecycle, such as training and inference. That was a action item for me.
Okay,
But
and did you say you did that?
yes, yeah, you can take a look. I added
Okay.
that. But we also maybe Dylan, you want to talk about this new thing about the length of the white paper?
Yes, we did there was a public TOC meeting yesterday. And the we went over the presentations and the slides for the tags for the maintainer track and main conference. One of the feedbacks for the presentation is that the TOC wanted us to evangelize or to advocate that white papers be kind of shortened and more concise, down to I think was it 2 pages? 2 pages, I think is what they said.
I think it's a
Um,
5 page maximum.
5 page max. Okay. Ideally, 5 pages max. The reason being is that when the CNCF first started out, there was a lot of context to provide in the white papers. And to inform the readers about certain keywords and context. 10 years later now, cloud native is much more established. People are a bit more familiar. And so there's suggestions to kind of drive white papers to a smaller format and to link to external references. So basically kind of chaining white papers together in a sense. So that the content is more digestible and readable by the viewers rather than having to read a 60-page white paper.
Sorry, when you're saying external sources, just you're talking about like references, but like other people's, like not our paper. It's like reference.
Correct.
Okay, yeah.
Correct. Yes. The idea is that essentially you're building upon previous white papers. Whether or not that is, referencing definitions or keywords, or other industry trends. That is the idea that the focus here is to make sure that the information is more readable and easier to digest rather than kind of having to spend more time prepping the reader around unknown context or I'm forgetting the other word. There's already a foundation that people are familiar with the past 10 years of cloud native. And apologies, my light got unplugged by a animal under my desk.
But regardless, like if you wanted to do if it's like 60 pages and maybe, I don't know, I'm just saying that, but like 2 pages are kind of like detailed about thing X. You can actually just create another doc, a deep dive about thing X, and then link to that wherever it is in a repo or in a doc or whatever, right? Like you can still kind of keep the content you want, but shorten it.
But it sounds like the ask is not, we do not write a paper that long. We just reference something else. Um, Yeah,
But
so
I'm saying like why couldn't we just like have a deep dive doc on something if we wanted to have more context?
but then how is that
It,
different from what we have already, right? Today we already have some white paper that are long. I thought that's what they are saying is don't
Mm.
write something that long. That's what I get. Dylan, maybe you can explain better. I just heard part of it, a part of that message.
yeah, no, Alexa has a point. You know, the idea here is that if you wanted to do a deep dive, and you maybe had another external reference to another doc or another repo, that is fine. The idea is the actual public presentation of the topic or the idea or of the content is in a much more digestible format rather than something that's like, you know, previously maybe had been 60 pages long. Um, and if you
Yes,
have if you have content that is that long or that is a deep dive, the TOC is intending for you to maybe think about, okay, instead of it being a single white paper, let's stage it into smaller white papers that you can kind of break down. The reasoning behind this as well is that lately with previous working groups, and part of the reason why they rebooted the tags is we've had working groups that have worked on long-winded white papers that never come to fruition. They kind of stay in the draft and the ideation phase, and you know, it just becomes a endless process of trying to write a very long, exhaustive white paper. So the focus here, and especially around the tag reboot with the transition from working groups into now more sub-projects and initiatives, is really about scoping and making sure that we are clear in our intent and our scope and what we're trying to deliver and what we're trying to say. So if you have a clear case for, hey, we have a deep topic we want to go into, the preference here is how do we break up that deep topic instead of it being a massive white paper? How do we break it down? How do we make it more digestible? Is there ways we can, you know, reference out to existing white papers or other content? Or maybe in your case, Alexa, I think that's a good question to ask around, can we maybe take some of the meat of the topic and put it in another deep dive area and just reference it? It's possible. But we're trying to, I think the TOS is just trying to kind of drive, you know, more repeatable, digestible deliverables in content.
Right. I guess if we still have a long paper, I guess like where do we host it, right?
Yeah.
Is it like just like Google Doc, never publish it or something like a draft version, or would that be a more published version? I guess that's not
Yeah.
clear if we still have like a deep dive doc.
And we can kind of see this. So I'll use an example here, the infrastructure lifecycle. We had set out originally when it was a working group before the tag reboot to write a white paper about infrastructure lifecycle, introduce people to these concepts that people or maybe are already familiar with or maybe are not, and just trying to align the industry on that. And some of the feedback is that Leo had pointed out here, um, that areas like this one, while you can explore them for a long time, could also be described in a shorter form factor, like a technical brief or maybe even a blog post to introduce people to the topic. So this is what we're trying to kind of push people for, is avoiding white papers just for the sake of a white paper. Can it be a technical brief? Is it a blog post? Is there ways we can kind of plan out smaller initiatives, maybe that make up a sub-project, where that sub-project is continuously exploring a topic or an idea that is continuously churning out, you know, papers and briefs and talks to engage folks rather than a big meaty 60-page white paper.
I get your point because it's like a research paper versus like a summary or blog. But I do think, I guess what I was pointing at is that the audience might vary in knowledge, and like
Yes.
there is a good place for those details for people to learn and understand, especially if someone's done the research. But I totally get what you're saying. So yeah, I guess my question is, where can we put that thought process or like more detailed stuff that actually might be useful to some of the audience?
I think that's an excellent question, Alexa, and that's maybe something for some discussions at KubeCon next week. How can we make sure we provide some better guidelines or guardrails for keeping this type of content while, trying to avoid maybe the typical go-to, hey, I have a working group, let's write a white paper. I think that's essentially what the TOC is trying, where they're trying to kind of branch out into different form factors of content. But in the process of doing so, we don't want to make sure we're just ostracizing people who have a place or a need for those kind of deep research papers. Any other thoughts or questions about that?
Was the documentation updated? I missed the TOC call this week. Do you know if
I
that's
don't think
all that stuff is written down?
I don't believe it has been yet. I have an issue open on the TOC repo around kind of there needs to be a more broad auditing of our documentation across the board since the reboot. I've started listing some things and calling some things out. I'm hoping to have some conversations at KubeCon to see how we can better drive that. This is another great example that I'll add to the list because I do not think it's in there yet.
Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. And I think where's the issue? I'll quickly link it real quick.
Yeah,
Here
what
we go,
happened
tag
was
reboot.
over in tag security and compliance, they approved a work stream that was already like mostly finished before the reboot, but it was paused right before release. And then when they unpaused it, they came back and said, "Wait, no, you need to restart." And it's like, wait, what? It was kind of surprising because it was the length thing that was just kind of like sprung in, which is a little bit surprising. So yeah, having the documentation to link for everybody else who wants to write a white paper in the future is going to be handy dandy, but it's none of our jobs necessarily. It's just a need.
Okay. No, that's really good context. Thank you, Eddie. And good to know. That is stuff that I will try and drive up into the TOC, hopefully at KubeCon next week. All right. Any other questions or concerns about initiatives or any updates about some of the existing ones? I know I started the infrastructure lifecycle one, but that is something that that Bruno and Johan had previously been working on or leading. So I will be working with Bruno offline to see where we can kind of try and reboot that. That's still in a kind of paused state. There was a draft of a white paper, but we didn't. We're looking to rescope that as part of this guidance from the TOC. I know there's been you mentioned something about data storage and an update to that or an action item that you completed.
Yeah. I was just telling Alexa because I added a section there, so she's going to look at it and add in some details.
It was you mentioned around
It's like
inferencing.
how storage is used in AI lifecycle, such as inferencing and training.
Okay. Okay. Do we have an update on the storage landscape white paper?
So that is the same as before, but I mean, because that's almost done, we were actually getting close to finish when they did the reboot. But now with this new requirements, I actually going to see if I can find some of the some of the people who worked on this paper with me in the past, just to see what we want to do with it, because we probably just need to kind of trim it down or summarize it or something in a way so that it's not that long. Right now it's pretty long. So
Okay.
we won't be able to publish it in the way it is right now. In the V3, we basically added some sections, like for streaming messaging, that's one section we added, and we updated some of the, like the container orchestration system sections. But because of this new requirement, we probably just need to, yeah, make it shorter.
Sorry, question. Is it in this doc that you said that you added the sections? Because I was just looking at the
It's in
storage
the,
right.
it's in the, not the landscape, it's it should be a link down in the earlier notes. Let me see. Okay, let me find that.
CNCF storage white paper version 3.
Not this, it's the AI, not the landscape white paper, but the AI one. I thought there was a link there. Let me just see. If it's not here, then it's in this other doc, the other doc that we had. Let me see. There's a link. Well, actually, it's on that issue.
It's
You
in
go
the
to that.
notes.
If you go to that issue, so Alisa, if you actually just go to that issue, right? There's the issue, CNCF TOC issue. If you go to that issue, that paper is there. So
Oh,
issue
because that
1901.
second link is version 3. I just didn't see the section.
Do you see the issue 1901? If you go to there, there is a
Oh,
link.
I think, sorry, I'm on 1803. My bad. Okay. Sorry.
Okay. There is a paper there. Yeah, if you look at it, I added a section at the end, storage in the AI lifecycle. Oh, so I see, Ryan, you added some comments here. So when you say linked back to your own work, then that will be in some Google Doc, I guess, right? So that one will
Yeah,
be.
to Alexa's point is, sorry, I'm jumping in off the fact. So to Alexa's point, she said if you have a big paper and you actually want all that information out there, just break it down in smaller ones and refer the back to, and kind of more write a series than an individual thing. And what part of the blocker with very long papers. So the TOC and other reviewers review those papers, and I'm sure most of you don't have a slot in your day where you can review a 60-page document. It's just hard. But if there's a 5-page document coming over your desk every other week, it's possible. So it's also for your own benefit. Write it short, link it up, and kind of do the same work, but maybe in chapters or in shorter reviewable versions that go out there.
Yeah, makes sense. Thanks. Yeah, so the new things are added at the new section added at the end. That's still, it's just some titles.
Okay.
Yeah, the rest of those were done some time ago. So, but yeah, we'll just need to go back and shorten those as well. So I think we can still have this paper, but then we'll shorten it.
All right, I added a direct link to the heading in the notes so people don't have to click through the issues.
Sure, sounds good.
Any other questions,
Yeah,
updates? Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, just a question. I haven't been following since the infrastructure lifecycle have been moved out, but I remember months ago, like we started the white paper regarding the infrastructure lifecycle. Just wanted to know if we are planning to divide this into, as you said, 5 pages max concise white papers, or we should completely move the scope regarding this one.
Stay tuned. I'm going to talk with Bruno, one of the tech leads. He was one of the people that was working on this paper prior as a chair of the working group. We'll need a time to kind of reassess. I will start a Slack thread in the TAG Infrastructure channel and ping Bruno. So keep a lookout in the TAG Infrastructure channel, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, okay, definitely. Because I know
All
that
right.
we have been spending a lot of time crafting the outline of this white paper.
Yes.
Maybe it could be good content to divide it into separate small white paper with 5 pages max. I think this could be beneficial for everyone with this infrastructure lifecycle topic.
I agree. Thank you. All right. Final call, questions, comments about initiatives or any updates to such initiatives or possibly new potential initiatives that you would like the tag to triage. Did we, speaking of that and kind of following up from the previous meeting, did we ever start or file an initiative for this state of infrastructure survey? I know Bruno's not here, but maybe I need to follow up with him offline.
No, we haven't, because he he proposed this one, right? So kind of waiting for him.
Okay.
I pinned him on the channel, but maybe he didn't see it. Yeah, if you can
Okay.
ping him, that'll be great because waiting for him to start this. Because I think last time we said that maybe we should just submit a initiative issue first. That's first,
Mhm.
right? Maybe talk to him and see what he want to do.
Yep. I will take that offline and I will start a second thread in the tag infrastructure channel for folks to follow along. Okay. So we've gone over KubeCon prep. We've done initiative updates. Has anyone joined from Cozy Stack? I know there was a post in the channel from Teamer yesterday about adding the presentation. He said he registered. Teamer, are you here? I don't see you in the attendees. That is, let me see, I'll ping them quickly. All right. I quickly poked him on Slack, but while we wait, I have no other agenda items. So kind of opening the floor for open topics. Anything for the tag or tech leads to take a look at?
Regarding this Cozy Stack presentation, have they done a presentation at that project sub-review meeting?
They so they haven't done a presentation. I'm not sure about that.
Mm.
I've
was
been having
wondering.
I was having
What-
conversations with them. The projects don't make presentations in the project sub reviews meeting. That's just mainly for folks to triage the issues. Going forward, the TOC has advised that projects have the option of choosing either to present or to complete a general technical review offline. So a presentation is not required to the tags. And they can do either one or the other. And then as part of the tags participation in the sub-project meetings, we then assist with the technical reviews when doing those project reviews. So there's either and let me just link it to it. This is part of the broader documentation audit, mainly because I had difficulty kind of finding links to where the templates are. So there's the project lifecycle process. The general technical reviews and domain technical reviews are in a new spot. Let me just quickly, what is it? TOC subprojects, project reviews, subproject, and then down in here, this template. So projects either fill this out when they're applying or they do a presentation. They don't have to do both. They pick one or the other. And that is called out in the, where is it called? I'm not sure if this is quite documented either. And this is another thing that he brought up as well, where some of this information
Do I understand correctly that you mean the projects have to do the self-technical review? Because in the project self-review meeting, I also experienced that the EOC is assigning interested folks from outside the project and even tags to actually do the technical review of the projects.
Correct. Doesn't have to explicitly be the tag most relevant to your project. It might help, but that is something that the TOC is trying to move away from, where previously it was you had to go find your relevant tag and you had to present to the relevant tag. This stuff is also out of date too, because it references tag contributor strategy, which is not a tag anymore. It's a subproject of the TOC. And so going forward, this needs to be kind of updated as well, where anyone can assist a project in doing a general technical review. If they're participating in the project review subproject, it is just advisable or helpful if someone who's a domain expert for the specific area that your project is scoped into is either the tag that you present to, or the person assisting you on either the general or the domain technical review.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's kind of the problem is that still a bit blurry that what is actually
Yes.
or who is going to do it, but I think we are going to learn it during the process.
And I think that, again, this is something that I think is a great call out by Eddie, is the fact that, like, if there are things that are process changes, they need to be documented, and we need to make sure that those documents are being updated if we're referencing process docs for folks to adhere to. All right, awesome. It looks like we have a new joiner, Andre. I'm going to make a somewhat educated assumption, but I would assume you're here to present Cozy Stack to the tag.
It is. Yeah, I have a presentation. I have live demo stand running right now. Not sure what the best format would be.
Why don't you so you said you either have a demonstration or a live demonstration or just kind of a presentation?
I have both. So just tell me how much time do I have?
Well, let's just start with a presentation first, and then if we have time for live demo, we'll include that at the end.
All right, then. I need to share my screen then.
Go ahead.
Here it is. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Awesome. So we built PaaS platform, or more likely cloud platform, which is fully based on Kubernetes. Cozy Stack is CNCF sandbox project starting from March 2025, and we focusing on providing managed services. What does it mean? Actually, we say that nowadays nobody needs just pure virtual machines and expecting to have managed and fully controlled services by cloud itself. And we built a platform which you can install on bare metal servers and start having this cloud-like experience on your own environment. With Cozy Stack, you have ready infrastructure stack with minimum dependencies. So we focusing on have as less dependencies as we can. We don't need to have storage system or something external. So everything is built in the platform in terms of providing managed services. And Cozy Stack can also be considered as platform framework for providing your own services. When I talk about managed services, I talk about managed Kubernetes, databases, queues, virtual machines, persistent volumes, or even though S3 storage and load balancers. Talking about Kubernetes, we have pretty similar Kubernetes, the same design like it is in Google Cloud or AWS. So we have control plane separated, not accessible by the user, and all the features are enabled. Like user can order their own Kubernetes cluster. In fact, it will be running like Kubernetes inside of the Kubernetes. And they can start deploying services. All the features will be enabled, like load balancers, persistent volume, and cluster autoscaling. We're focusing at bare metal at most because it is faster, cheaper, sovereign. It has predictable costs, and with your data, your data is under your control. This might be perfect for AI, regulated and edge workloads. Usually building cloud-like experience on bare metal is difficult, not with the Cozy. With Cozy Stack, you just take a bunch of your servers, install the platform on it, and you have everything prepared, like monitoring, storage, networking, just for running services. To make this, we're starting operating on very low level. So on operating system layer, we currently use Talus Linux there. Actually, we have pipeline prepared, which bake this system image with kernel modules, kernel versions, so we can be sure that this image will be used by other components, and we can be sure that they will be working. On layer 2, we have storage, networking, virtualization. Those are also CNCF projects. On layer 3, we have set of operators. Mostly of them are from CNCF. Cluster API and monitoring. On layer 4, we have built our own Kubernetes API server, which works like Kubernetes aggregation API for dynamically showing and operating these Kubernetes resources. So every managed service can be shown on dashboard or Kubernetes object without dynamic recompilation. We have dashboard, which is built on top of this API server. Every application here is actually built out of YAML file, and actually we have open API dynamic generation for rendering these forms. So users can also get a user-friendly interface for seeing and managing their services. Under the hood, we use KubeVirt. For databases service, we focused on using operator approach because only operators can actually give us full lifecycle management. So we not only deploy databases, we literally looking for their state, handling fault tolerance, and managing backups by the operators. Every database also have pre-configured dashboards, alerts. So only thing you need is just click and install application. It will be automatically appear in Grafana dashboard, and you'll start receiving alerts. The idea is to have simple integration, and thanks to Kubernetes API, it is pretty simple. So in case if you are, let's say, ISP provider and you want to start provisioning Postgres clusters, that's just in terms of putting one YAML into Kubernetes API. And after that, a new service will be up and running. And Cozy Stack itself is the platform which you can simply extend. So we use this approach with Helm charts, where Helm charts define the API. So you can simply define new application by writing Helm chart, but they are still then managed by operators for having full lifecycle management. But once you define Helm chart, you define Flux resources, and we also have Cozy Stack resource definition, which will dynamically extend Kubernetes API with new objects. Actually, everything you see in Helm values file, it will ships into spec of the Kubernetes object. We also have tenant system, which is borrowed from standard Unix patterns. We have tenant root, and every tenant have a domain assigned to it. You can see it here. When you create new tenants, it gets subdomain automatically assigned to this. Under the hood, the tenants are the ordinary Kubernetes namespaces with specific tenant modules. So if you know how Linux kernel namespaces work, you can create new processes with mount namespace, networking namespace. In our case, we use tenant modules, which are etcd, monitoring, ingress, and also we have cvdfs, which is storage for S3. And when you're creating new tenants, you can say if they should have specific isolation from, let's say, if they have to have separated monitoring. And all the applications which you deploy inside of this tenant namespace, they will automatically take closest tenant module for their operations. For example, Kubernetes cluster here takes etcd and monitoring from tenant foo, but ingress talks as this Kubernetes from the tenant root. This scheme actually allows you to create such scheme when you have organization, team of developers, and organization can have one monitoring system and still have strong isolation for their team of developers, but they will still write logs and metrics to the monitoring, to the common Grafana interface. We also have Keycloak integrated. The storage is based on LinStore. This is like, I would say Kubernetes, but for block devices. Actually, we use it quite interesting way. LinStore allows you to define standard storage pools using LVM or ZFS, and then cut the virtual volumes out of this. And we use, and enable replication when you need it, just for specific cases. Just for example, we don't use storage-based replication for Postgres and MySQL clusters because they can replicate themselves on application layer. But for virtual machines and user provisioned persistent volumes in tenant Kubernetes clusters, we have no such opportunity. So we use fast replication, which works right in kernel. And for networking, we use a set of Cilium and kubeOVN. kubeOVN actually ensures the stable layer for virtualization. So we have such features like live migration. We can migrate IP addresses from one node to another. We have IP addresses management, and we almost finished VPC support in Cozy Stack. While Cilium is mostly used as kube proxy replacement and for policy enforcement. That's actually it. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them.
Hey, this is
Right, any
fantastic.
questions?
Yeah, this is
Oh,
fantastic.
go ahead.
Really good, man. I was kind of building this in the last 1 or 2 years as a kind of amateur. So what you guys have done is simplified the whole thing. So it's very good to see this. And then I kind of think my kind of stack almost matches it, but not all the way. You guys have done far more. So my question is, where do you want to, how do you want to position this? What audience are you trying to position this to? Like how are you going to expand it? So I love the work you've
Okay.
done.
Okay. Mainly we focusing on ISPs because they see how the hyperscalers grow, and they want to have their own independent cloud. They have no expertise to building that all of this from the scratch, and we want to build open source project which focused on providing managed services. In this way, we have I would say clients or adopters who use Cozy Stack for running Kubernetes in post, because creating fully functional managed Kubernetes service is really difficult. In our case, it is already ready, so you can install Cozy Stack and start provisioning Kubernetes clusters, which has after scaling and persistent volumes and load balancers. They also use Postgres clusters, Kafka clusters. So they actually giving the space to their customers where they can build their infrastructure as a code. The second audience is actually FinOps organizations, banks, because they have worry about about the data. They don't want to go public clouds. They want to have. They usually have air-gap installations inside of their perimeter. So Cozy Stack for them is more likely internal system for their team of developers, where they can simply test and run some workloads. Currently, we're also working on adding AI support. So we already have GPUs pass-through and GPU operator inside of as component inside of tenant Kubernetes clusters. That sounds like ready infrastructure for AI workloads. And we want to extend it more with adding AI features like implementing KubeRay project to build a platform for running AI workloads, actually.
Pretty good, pretty nice. And I'm assuming, and maybe you mentioned it before, the initial deployment of Cozy Stack could be open source, right? And then or people can deploy it, but then you may be kind of charging some premium for other features. I don't know how you guys are thinking
The
about
question,
Yeah.
the question about monetizing all of this.
Yes.
The project itself is started as open source. All the functionality is available open source. We have enterprise. We actually, as Enix, the main developers of Cozy Stack, we sell our enterprise support for and helping with preparing Cozy Stack for specific environments. Sometimes people want to have some features which are missing here. They want to have SLA-guaranteed support. And we also have a few enterprise modules which are helping them to spend their money on our support. The main module is a billing system, which is expected to be enterprise. Actually, all the services here, they consume Kubernetes resources, and we have additional module which works the same way through the Kubernetes aggregation layer, which collects the information about how much resources allocated for every particular tenant, and it can give you information by the request.
Pretty good. Thanks very much for the presentation. I'll kind of try to keep up to date on what you guys are doing. Thank you.
Thank you for your questions.
Hey, are there any similar projects like this?
I think we are competing with various projects. Mostly of them are not have the functionality that we have. Just for example, I can mention OpenNebula, Apache Cloud Stack, and of course OpenStack. They're usually focusing on providing IaaS services like virtual machines. Sometimes they have Kubernetes clusters, but no more. OpenStack have extension which allows you to run the databases, but this actually very difficult to set up. Actually, for managing OpenStack, you need to have your separated OpenStack team. With Cozy Stack, you have native Kubernetes, and it's just built out of the controllers, which is, I think, easy to manage. And also proprietary solutions. We have we compete with Virtuoso Elastic. They have their solution for PaaS based on OpenStack. And VMware Tanzu, since they usually provide Kubernetes as well, but they also have some database service. The main competitors to us are, I think, hyperscaler solutions like AWS Stack, Google Anthos, and AWS Outpost.
No, for those stacks, you bring up a good question. But for those stacks, you can claim that you are not locking in, right? Because there is a perception, I'm not sure it's true or not, that getting into AWS Stack or Google Anthos might be more of a lock-in to that vendor.
What do you mean? Sorry, I didn't get this.
lock like
Yeah,
like a
you're
Google
vendor
Athos
locking.
or
Yeah,
AWS
got
stack
it.
can be like once you get into the stack, it's kind of a lock-in, is what I'm hearing. I'm wondering if this would be, is there any way you can say, hey, you're not getting locked in because most likely you're using all of these as CNCF tools?
Yeah, yeah.
Now asking the question, sorry, is that the right way to think about it, or is there a different way to think about it?
Not sure. I think we didn't think about it.
Okay.
Well,
Questions.
sometimes we have some deployments in various clouds. For example, Hetzner Cloud is very popular because they're focusing on providing bare metal machines. So you can get cheap bare metal machines, install Cozy Stack on them, and start providing, actually run the same services like you have in AWS. The thing is, I think when Cozy Stack will be more mature, when it will get joined to CNCF incubated, we can start working with various clouds because they will see that this project is mature enough and they can consume the same patterns or the project itself for building their own clouds.
Right. So I guess then it's like this is not yet production ready, is what I'm hearing, right?
Well, we have clients who run it in production. I can mention some names. For example, Swiss hosting provider Hedora. We have also a few other hosting providers who runs it in production.
Cool, good. Good
Are
to hear
these
that.
adapters of your project or the enterprise version?
Hedora running enterprise version, but as I mentioned before, there are not much differences. We have no actually enterprise version. We have enterprise modules which can be connected and installed externally. You can also take a look at adapters files. We
Yeah,
have some.
that would be great.
There's some.
I'll check
Yes.
that. Yes, thanks a lot. The other question that I had is this for the contribution. How, apart from your company, is there any other major contributing company, or how many contributors do you have from like as a whole?
We have various contributions. Mostly of them are from our company, but we have external contributions. Usually, I know once a week we get one external PR. We ask about governance. We have external people who managing this project as well. For example, we running our Cozy Stack Summit in 4th December. The program committee is built of 3 independent companies, including us. Maybe you know the folks from Flux CD, actually Kingdom. They are very interested also in this project and contributing very often to it.
Oh, thanks. Nice presentation, by the way.
Yeah, Timur just writing that we have about 20 regular contributors, but only 5 or 6 from Enix. Also, we have huge community. We have Telegram channel, Slack channel in official Kubernetes Slack. Mostly, yeah, I think community in Telegram is the biggest one. We have around 1,000 members there.
All right, any last call for questions for Cozy Stack? I've also linked the incubating application in the chat for folks, and I put it in our notes as well. And then what I'll do is after this meeting, once the YouTube recording is posted, I will post the YouTube with the timestamp to the presentation in the TOC issue. Go ahead, Eddie.
Hey, sorry,
Share your slides too. Sorry, I'm just asking the presenter. Can you share your slides too?
Yeah, sure. If you share me a link to Slack to your tag, I can send it there. Or can I send it to Zoom?
You can put it. Well, what I would suggest is just posting a link to the slides in the TOC issue.
Yeah, okay. I can also send it to application actually. This is actually a lightning talk to KubeCon. If you attend KubeCon Atlanta, feel free to find our booth and see our lightning talk. Eddie, have a question.
off topic. Yeah, sorry, I disconnected and then reconnected, and I wasn't sure where we were in the conversation. And we're still doing Q&A from your prezo. I don't want to interrupt, but I have a different topic before we close.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, thank you, Andre. Did I pronounce your name correctly?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for the presentation. Last call for any further questions before we let Eddie have a quick separate tag topic. Going once, twice. All right, Eddie, go ahead.
Okay. Just a quick QA. Make sure that I'm sharing stuff that you guys want to have shared. So next week I'm doing a quick run through. Oh, that's not working. I'm just going to share my entire screen. Next week I'm doing an overview of just like all the tags, TOC, technical community groups, that kind of stuff on Tuesday. So, goodness, if my screen share was working, it would be a lot happier. It's because I tried to do a full screen. All right. So if you could take a look here. This is this slide. I mean, it's not even going to be like more than a minute even of just kind of talking about the tag because it's in the larger context of the everything. But I wanted to make sure that if somebody takes a picture of this with their cell phone, this is accurate and you guys like this information.
Doing a quick scan for me, it looks good. I have no qualms. If you don't mind adding, we have a couple QR codes for our Slack and meetings. I don't know if you could. They're on our slides for the presentation, and I will link to the. I posted the link to the slides on the TOC meeting. Let me find it real quick from yesterday.
Cool.
Here we go. 1626. Yeah, so in that issue, there's a link to the tag infrastructure slides, and you should be able to just go in and copy out those QR codes. It's one of the last slides in our community section, if you don't mind.
Oh, epic. Yeah, I'll do that.
Perfect. Thank you, Eddie. We appreciate the efficacy.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right. We're a minute over, but is there any final questions, topics for the meeting before we adjourn?
I just want to mention that I posted slides under this link. If somebody needs, take it.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, final call. All right. You all have a wonderful week. And those of you that are making the trip out, I will hopefully see you at KubeCon. Take care. Safe travels.
Bye. See you.
See you.
Thank you.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye bye. Thanks.